The palace of Ithaca was a gilded cage. Once a beacon of joy under Odysseus' reign, it had become a gilded prison for Penelope. 10 years had passed since the black ship sailed away, carrying her husband to the shores of Troy. A decade of endless days and sleepless nights, filled with a gnawing uncertainty that gnawed at her soul. Each dawn, a fresh wave of hope washed over her, only to be dashed against the cruel rocks of reality as the sun began its descent. Her heart, once a vibrant tapestry of love, was now a frayed cloth, its threads worn thin by the relentless passage of time. Yet, she clung to the flicker of hope, a stubborn ember refusing to be extinguished. The suitors, a ravenous flock of vultures, had descended upon her kingdom. Their eyes, like vultures, gleamed with predatory intent, their voices a cacophony of demands, echoing through the once peaceful halls. They sought not just her hand in marriage, but the crown that rightfully belonged to her absent husband. Penelope, a queen trapped in her own castle, played a dangerous game. She feigned acquiescence, promising to choose a suitor once she completed a funeral shroud for her father-in-law. A ruse, a desperate gamble to buy time. By day, she wove with meticulous care a facade of submission. But as night descended, casting long, ominous shadows, she would unravel her work, stitch by agonizing stitch. The suitors, growing impatient, sensed her deception. Their threats grew louder, their demands more insistent. The air crackled with tension, a storm brewing within the palace walls. Yet Penelope stood firm, her resolve as unyielding as the Ithacan cliffs. For in the depths of her heart, she knew Odysseus was alive. A mother's intuition, a wife's faith, a queen's defiance, these were the forces that sustained her. With each passing day, the noose tightened. The suitors, cornered and desperate, were closing in. The palace was a powder keg, ready to explode. And in the heart of this maelstrom, Penelope waited. Waited for the echo of oars, the creak of wood against the shore, the footsteps of a man returning from the dead. Would he come? Or would the suitors claim her as their prize, extinguishing the last ember of hope in her heart? The fate of Ithaca hung in the balance, dependent on the will of the gods and the courage of a woman who refused to surrender. The weight of the world seemed to rest on Penelope's shoulders. Each day was a battle, a silent war waged within the gilded prison of her palace. The suitors, a relentless tide, crashed against the shores of her resolve. Their laughter, a mocking chorus, echoed through the halls, a constant reminder of her solitude. Telemachus, her son, a mere boy when Odysseus departed, had grown into a shadow of his father, a silent witness to his mother's torment. His heart ached for her, but his youth and inexperience left him feeling helpless. He watched, his spirit yearning to protect her, but his hands bound by the constraints of his age. The shroud, a symbol of both hope and despair, grew and shrank with each passing day. By day she wove with meticulous care, a performance for the watching eyes. By night, under the cloak of darkness, she unraveled the tapestry of deceit, her fingers moving with a desperate urgency. Rumors began to swirl, dark whispers carried by the wind. Some said she was mad, a queen lost in grief. Others claimed she was playing a dangerous game, toying with the lives of the suitors. But Penelope cared little for their opinions. Her world was confined to the palace walls, a solitary island surrounded by a tempestuous sea. The suitors grew bolder, their demands more explicit. They threatened, they cajoled, they resorted to violence. The once peaceful palace had become a battleground, a place where fear and uncertainty reigned. Yet, Penelope stood firm, her spirit unbroken. In the quiet of her chambers, she would often gaze out at the endless expanse of the sea. It was there, she believed, that Odysseus sailed, a solitary figure battling the storms of fate. And in those moments of solitude, hope would flicker, a tiny flame in the darkness. One night, as the moon cast its ethereal glow upon the palace, Penelope had a dream. She saw Odysseus, standing on the shore, his figure etched against the horizon. His eyes, filled with a familiar warmth, seemed to pierce the veil of sleep. And then he was gone, leaving behind a sense of longing and anticipation. When she awoke, a strange sense of peace washed over her. It was a fleeting moment, a whisper of hope in the face of despair. But it was enough to sustain her, to give her the strength to face another day, another battle in her endless war.